If you've decided to replace your windows, the next question is what type? There's casement, double hung, awning, slider. These all operate differently, cost differently, and suit different situations. I'm Sandra from Habitual Homes, and I'm going to walk you through the 6 main window types you'll actually encounter, when each one makes sense, and honestly, when they don't. By the end, you'll know exactly what to ask for. Here's what confuses people. Window companies throw around terms like casement and double hung, assuming you know what they mean. But these aren't just style choices. How a window operates affects ventilation, air leakage, cost, and honestly, how you actually use the space. So I'm going to show you 6 types. For each one, I'll explain how it works, what it costs, and most importantly, when it's the right choice for Toronto home. First, casement windows. These are hinged on one side and swing outward, usually with a crank handle. How they work? They open like a door, swinging out to one side, usually operated with a crank. Why they're good? They're my go-to for Toronto homes. When they close, they press against the frame, which creates a really tight seal. That means better air tightness than almost any other type, which is really important for our winters. You also get the full window opening for ventilation. The downsides, they swing outward so you can have window screens on the outside. They also cost slightly more than double hung, usually $50 to $100 per window. When to use them? In any room where ventilation matters, like bedrooms, living areas, when energy efficiency is a priority, where you have clearance outside for them to swing. Cost can range from $400 to $1,200 per window, depending on size and material. Now, double hung windows, both the top and bottom sash slide open down. How they work? Both sections move, so you can open from the top, the bottom, or both. Why they're common? They're traditional, especially for older Toronto homes. They don't project outward, so they work well where you don't have exterior clearance. Many tilt in for cleaning, which is really convenient. The downsides, because the sashes slide rather than press close, they have more air leakage than casement windows. They also have more moving parts, which means more potential for problems over time. The design consideration: if you're replacing windows on a heritage home or a house with traditional architecture, double hung usually looks right. They're the authentic choice for Victorian, Edwardian, and many early 20th century homes. When to use them? In traditional architecture, where they're appropriate, when limited exterior clearance, in upper floors where tilting in for cleaning matters. Cost can go from $350 to $1,000 per window, and there is also single hung where only the bottom moves. These cost less, but I rarely recommend them. You're saving maybe $50 to $75 for significantly less flexibility. Now, awning windows, they hinge at the top and open outward from the bottom. How they work? The window tilts out, creating an awning effect, and while they're brilliant, I like that you can leave them open during rain. The window itself acts like a little roof, and this is really nice for Toronto where we get summer rain, and it's great for bathrooms where you want ventilation even in bad weather. The design aspect, they usually work best as smaller windows above sinks in bathrooms or as accent windows paired with fixed windows. When to use them? In bathrooms, if you want ventilation in any weather, above kitchen sinks, basements where the window is near the ceiling, paired with large fixed windows for ventilation. The cost can go from $300 to $800 per window depending on size. Now, sliding windows, also called sliders or gliders, these open horizontally. How they work? One or both sides slide left or right on a track. When they make sense? In wide openings where you want simple operation, in basements, or modern designs where the horizontal line works with the architecture. The honest truth, they have higher air leakage because they slide rather than press shut. I don't typically recommend them for main living areas unless the design really calls for it. When to use them? You can use them in basements where ceiling height is limited, in modern architecture where horizontal lines are intentional, in wide open openings, where double hung would be awkward, and where crank operation would be difficult. The cost can go from $300 to $900 per window. Now, picture windows or fixed windows, they don't open at all, but they're the most energy efficient option because there are no moving parts, no seals to fail, and they're also usually less expensive than operable windows. The design used when you want a view or lots of light without the need for ventilation, often used as center windows flanked by casements or awnings for ventilation. Now, when to use them? Showcasing a view where you need light but not ventilation, as part of a window combination, or in stairway landings. The important consideration: don't use them in bedrooms or main living areas as your only windows. You need ventilation and emergency egress. The cost can go from $250 to $800 per window depending on size. So how do you actually choose? For most Toronto homes, here's my baseline recommendation. In main living areas and bedrooms, casement windows, they have better seal, better ventilation, and worth the small extra cost. For bathrooms, I like awning windows, double hung where they're appropriate historically, large view windows, fixed picture windows, possibly flanked by casements for ventilation. And here's a question for you before we finish. Go look at your house right now. Which windows do you actually open? Which ones do you never touch? This tells you where you need operable windows versus where fixed windows would save you money. Also, don't mix too many different types just because you can. Pick 2, maybe 3 types, and use them consistently. Your house will look more cohesive. If you're working with us on a project, we'll walk you through this room by room. We'll look at how you actually use the space, what direction the windows face, what the exterior style requires. And one more thing, if you're replacing windows, there's a good chance you're also thinking about doors, or you should be, because they often make sense to do together. Doors have the same types of decisions: swing direction, materials, style, but they're even more visible. Your front door is literally the first thing people see. An interior door swing direction affects your furniture layout in ways most people don't think about until it's too late. I made a complete guide to door types and decisions. I'll link it here. It covers exterior and interior doors, when each type makes sense, and the functional decisions like swing direction that affect how you actually use your space.